Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. I am Lauren with Freedom from Alcohol. I'm one of the coaches along with Chris Shattuck and Matt Gardner. My name is Lauren Hellman and I am interviewing Debbie today. And I can't wait for you guys to hear her story. She just recently celebrated 1 year of sobriety, of being alcohol free. And you guys might have seen I posted a text message that she sent to Chris and I about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so I just wanted to kind of reintroduce you to Debbie. And Debbie, I just want to share your story. So thank you for coming on here today.
Okay, well, you're welcome, and I'm glad to share my story. Um, so when I met Chris and Lauren, I actually had been given some bad news by my doctor that I was in the beginning phases of liver failure. And, my one doctor who they didn't know that I was a big drinker. They had no clue about that. So my one doctor called me up and asked me if I was taking large volumes of Tylenol because of my liver values. And I said, no, I'm drinking, doctor. And I knew that I had to make a change, and I started to try to, white knuckle it and do it without help because, telling people that you drink too much or drink excessively or are a ridiculous drunk is not something that we like to tell people about ourselves. So I actually found Chris on TikTok. And I just happened to have like, my heart was open to that at the time because, I was thinking about how difficult it was for me. So, I called him and through Chris, I met you and joined the group. And it really was life changing for me. I did just recently, I still have to go get one more liver test. But one of the things my gastroenterologist told me was when I started this, he said, the great thing about your liver is it can heal itself. And he said, I think that you might be at a phase if you stop drinking now that your liver may be able to heal itself. So yeah, so my enzymes are back down where they should be. I have one more test I have to get, but he feels confident that, I kind of dodged that bullet at least,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the way my life was, I was drinking every day. My routine was get up and do the best I could to get ready to go to work and go there and try to make it through. And on my way home, stop and buy alcohol and drink sometimes throughout the night. I'm pretty sure that there were times that I went to work and I still had the after effects of alcohol. I know I had a wet brain.
Right.
And then when I had gained ridiculous amount of weight, probably over 100 pounds. And I just really had given up on life, I was talking to my niece about it. I'm on vacation right now. And I was talking to my niece about it this week. And I said, I had made the decision that there wasn't much left for me to do. So it was okay for me to go out like this. What a stupid way to think, but that's,
Wow.
that was, um,
Well,
and
when we're in that alcohol bubble, we start isolating ourselves so much that there is nothing left but the alcohol. So then what is the point, right?
yes, yeah. Um, because you don't feel good unless you're drinking.
Mhm.
And when you're sober, it's just not comfortable at all. So,
Mm.
so I started, my journey with Chris and you, and I kind of embraced it wholeheartedly. And I watched all the videos and I did all the exercises. I just pulled my notebook out the other day and was reading, 100 reasons why, alcohol is terrible. I mean, there
Right,
were a lot
right.
like that, which at the time I thought, oh, but it's so meaningful to me now to pull them out and look at them and say, that's true, and that's true, and that's true. Um, and then I just started to, I went through a kind of a rough phase, like I found gummies,
Uh-huh.
because I didn't know that, I had never been a weed person before. And so, of course, they became legalized. So what did I do? I overdid them,
Mm.
uh, and I moved past that, but I kept listening to, the meetings that we would have every week and our counseling sessions, and cutting myself some slack, and kind of helping, seeing myself as somebody who deserved to be sober and have a better, you know, and seeing alcohol for what it was. I mean, I heard Chris say something one time, and it has stuck with me, and I've quoted it to people. He made the comment that, you might be upset that you can't drink and your friends can, but the continuum of alcohol somewhere, and they might not have a problem with it today, but they might have a problem with it 6 weeks from now. And I'm paraphrasing it, but I thought that is so true. I didn't realize it when I started overdoing alcohol. But yeah, so in the past year, just to kind of go through some of the things, I've spent time on my health, worked with my doctors. I started a weight loss journey, and I really didn't have to do all that much. I did my Fitness Pal and quit drinking booze. My gastroenterologist just asked me that because I'm right at 80 pounds now.
Wow.
And I said, my Fitness Pal and no booze, and so, I mean, it was amazing. I had to start walking again, and trying to get back involved in life. My son and daughter-in-law and I have talked about buying a property. For them, it would be like a family homestead, and for me, it would be my retirement property. And we did that this year. We bought a 10-acre property up in Arcadia Township in Michigan. Wow. I'm actually there. Yeah. And I mean, I just like every day. I enjoy my job, where I thought I was going to quit my job before, and just live under a bridge somewhere. But I mean, I'm actually enjoying my career at this point. So I'm getting my condo ready to sell. It's just, I adopted 2 cats. I don't know if I told you that too. I have 2 more kitties now.
Okay. Hey, you know what? We get to build the life. I love everything you're saying, because I remember when we were first getting started together, and I remember you just being like, well, this is it. I mean, whatever. And you had shared all those things with me. And then to see where you are now, a year later, you actually enjoy your job. You enjoy life. You have a social life. You're getting out of the house. You're getting healthy. You've lost a crap ton of weight, which, ladies and gents, we all know that the alcohol is not going to help with your figure, okay? Which, it's not so much about the ego with the figure and how we look, but it's the longevity in our health and how we're feeling. So alcohol is a big contributor to that. But it's also such a depressant that you thought, this is it, I'll just go live under a bridge somewhere. Who cares, right? And now to see how full your life is. You've bought a property on which you can retire. You're enjoying your job. You're just full of joy and zest.
I am loving life. I'm loving it. And, like some of the things I adopted was meditation. Like I thought that was so hokey when I first started doing it. This morning, I'm not like, a Zen master or anything like that. But, to spend 10 minutes really kind of getting in touch with how I feel and who I am and what my, what I want for my future and that sort of thing is really a big deal. It's been so helpful to me.
Yes. Meditation gets a bad rap because it is kind of like, oh, I'm just going to go be with myself. And we don't want to do that as drinkers. Like, that's not something we want to do. We've already spent too much time with ourselves, and we're not really liking ourselves, right? But as we come off the shame and guilt cycle of, I hate myself, I hate life, I hate everything because I'm so sick and so depressed and so poisoned, right? That then when we come out of that, it's just a cool little cycle of things there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I have learned more about myself, so much more about myself, what I'm capable of, when I need help and that sort of thing. And I like myself so much better. I'm able to cut myself slack for my imperfections and stuff like that, and say, that's not the full definition of who you are, Debbie,
Yes.
So,
yes.
But it's been a wonderful year, and I'm looking forward to sobriety. I'm I love it every day. I wouldn't go like, I know that people have relapses and I struggled with that for years, for years. I'd get 2 or 3 months sober and then I'd go right back to it with a vengeance.
Right.
And so achieving a year was huge for me. Just huge. Of course, achieving 90 days was huge. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Yes.
yeah, every milestone is important.
So here's the drum roll question. Do you miss it? Are you spending a lot or even part of your day just saying, gosh, I wish I could have my alcohol back?
Never.
Yeah,
No.
that's huge.
I mean, even when something is sad or something is causing me anxiety, I never think I, I'm not saying, I mean, I might want to, I might want to get away from it, but I don't want to intoxicate myself and and dull my senses so that I cannot come out safely on the other side. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. So, when something bad happens, we still need coping mechanisms, and some of them are healthier than others. You might grab the gummy bears, you might go take a nap, or you might just like take a bill that you don't want to look at and tuck it away in, for the next day to deal with. But you're
Yeah,
not coming back the next day to look at that bill hungover, even more broker because you drank so much last night, broke your phone, broke a relationship, broke all kinds of things, right? So, I love, love, love that what we're doing here is we're not trying to just get you to be physically sober or, physically dry. We don't want you to be dry, but also sitting around just miserable on that same couch cushion that you used to sit on. So it's more about building a life that you don't need to be drunk to get through. Wouldn't you
right.
agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, and I wonder even now, like, what was the attraction to that, I mean, I do understand it. But moving beyond it, is so preferable. It's so much better. It's life versus death.
Yes.
It really.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of us that have ended up in our program, a lot of our clients and myself included, I could tell you that if I'd continued on with what I was doing, and I don't know what the timeline would have been, but I would say by the time 5 years hit, I might be dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I felt. I physically something was going to take me out, and you start to feel that. You start to feel that physical progression happening to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to pull myself up here and go a different direction, but it's worth it to do it. It's worth it. And looking back at it, hindsight is always 2020, right? Like
Right.
remembering what it was like to think, oh, I've got to stop doing this. Do I really want to? Yeah, no. You know what I mean? It's like, um, was so worth it. I wouldn't change 1 minute of the last year. I wouldn't. It
I
was a good
love it,
year.
love it, love it. I'm like a proud mama bird. You were in the little nest, you were a little sober chickling, and like you just got in your wings, you flew away and you built your own nest and you're building a new life, and it's a life that you love. And of course, being, alcohol free doesn't mean that every moment's gonna be all rainbow and glitter. But when the hard days come, we haven't compounded that by also being so sick and so blurry and having such a small bandwidth that we can't deal with the regular things. So I love, thank you for coming and doing this with me because I haven't seen you face to face
I
in so
know,
long.
because I've been busy, Lauren.
You've been building a life. I got you. You didn't have time for all this, but I do love, love, love getting to celebrate you. So congratulations from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for doing all of this. I want you to leave a tip for anyone who might be struggling right now, that's on the fence, that's tried to quit a couple of times, because you and I have both been there. What would be your tip to help somebody get started, whether it's, with us as coaches or just in any direction?
Well, I know it's cliche to say it, but you're so worth it. You're so worth the effort that it's going to take to feel as great as you're going to feel when you cross over into sobriety. It's worth that, worth the trouble.
Yes.
And it really is.
So it's worth the hardship that you spend for what? A week, 2 weeks of
Yeah.
kind of misery and being really, really itchy when the physical addiction is really, getting you. And the other thing I would say is just from your story is that you didn't think there was anything left to live for, and you couldn't know that because you were so stuck in that alcohol bubble. But knowing that wherever you sit today, if you're watching this and you're super depressed, you don't feel like there's much left to live for, realize that that's the alcohol still talking, because the alcohol is a depressant. And research shows that every time you drink alcohol, you're going to be depressed for 3 to 4 days afterwards. So now take Debbie, take Lauren, and if you're drinking every day, how do you think that you're going to feel about life?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Just that that hopelessness.
mhm,
You can overcome that. You can move beyond that. And it's, you know,
yeah,
I don't know what to say other than it's just so worth every ounce of nail biting and white knuckling. And but there's you, Lauren. I mean, you were there for me. Chris was there for me. The group was there for me. Just hearing people tell their stories and being part of the community was, it was helping me along the way. It's like, you're running a marathon and we were all doing it for each other. It was great.
yeah, the community is amazing. And it's almost like if you're going to use the marathon example, you've got people along the road passing you water, toweling your face off for you, like you're doing the hard work, you're running the marathon, but maybe somebody's giving you a new pair of shoes when yours rubs a hole in it so that you can just quickly change them and keep running, or handing you the water, handing you a towel to wipe off with, patching up your knee if you scrape it, right? But life as you know it today, as a struggling drinker who's wanting to quit but not knowing how to do it, just realize that's not your real life. I think of alcohol recently, this popped in my head and it just really resonates with me. I was the type where if I had one drink, the minute I took the first sip, if I'm driving my car, and my car is like my body, my autonomy, like my sense of independence, as soon as I took the first sip, boom, addict Lauren is like, I'm driving now, people. And so then the alcohol's driving. That wasn't the real me. It was me on drugs. And if you can understand that, you can give yourself a little bit of grace and realize, hey, me on drugs is not real life. So there's so much more to look forward to if I just take this out, get over that hump, and then start to live life without it. So that's exactly what you did. And this is why we're here.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time to talk about it because it's very meaningful to me. Something, and just say this, not to drag it on, but um, when I would quit drinking before, and I would quit for a month or 2 months, or I don't know if I ever made it to 3 months over about a 15-year period, um, I would never tell anybody about my successes. But when I hit when I hit 365 days, I was texting all of my kids and my friends, and I was letting everybody know, hey, I hit my year today. So it was a big deal.
Mhm. No more full of shame and guilt.
That's right. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. It was a hill in my life I had to climb, and I feel like, with the support and help of you, Lauren, and Chris, and the group of, like we said, the community of people and the people around me, it's amazing how when you tell somebody that you're struggling with that you were afraid to tell them that before, how supportive they become. You learn who your friends are, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely. And there's so many people out there that love you. And gosh, I keep going back to this, but we didn't even know that because we isolate so much. By the time you're in a space where you're like, gosh, my drinking is a big problem, we're already kind of doing it alone because we know that our behavior is not appropriate to be done in public. So more and more, I'm saying no to a reservation for dinner because I'd rather be at home drinking the way I want to drink, the way my body needs to drink, rather than go out and be miserable all night trying to pace myself so I look like a normal drinker. Like there's just so much about all this that just blows my mind. It's so silly, but we don't know that. We don't know it. And so that's why we like to bring people on like Debbie, because this is the live living proof that like everything is better without alcohol. Every single thing.
I can sleep like nobody's business now. I couldn't
Right.
do it before.
How nice is that? And then finances are better. Obviously, we just bought a 10-acre property to retire on. And so, I don't remember if you remember, but do you remember what your calculation was for how much you were spending on alcohol weekly or monthly?
I don't. I'm
Okay.
so I was a cheap drinker. I knew that, but it still was a lot of money.
Okay. So I considered myself like, I didn't buy the cheap bottles of wine because I was above that, right? It's all poison. Some of it's just prettier packaged and costs more money, but it's all the same thing. But I was spending $840 a month on alcohol, and I'm sure it was higher than that, but that was just counting like the regular routine of how much I would drink per day plus the weekend of like Applebee's or Buffalo Wild Wings so I could get more in
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. But finances get better, health gets better, relationships get better. The relationship with yourself, I think, is the most important one that changes, and just being able to forgive yourself and then being able to let others forgive you as well for the things that you really screwed up, right? But learning to love yourself opens up the gates for everything else in your life.
Yes, it really does. And that's probably been the best byproduct of not drinking is I've learned who I am and I like who I am. And I like me sober.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And think back 2 seconds of drunk Debbie, drunk Lauren,
Yeah.
and I didn't like her very much.
No, drunk Debbie couldn't keep her mouth shut.
Woo, I know that's right. All right, Debbie. Well, I'm going to let you get on with your day. You said you're on vacation, so go back to doing that. Thank you so much for being here. I have loved this. I want to give you like a virtual hug.
Oh,
But I'm so excited for everything. Will you send me a video of that property when you can? I just want to see what it looks like.
yes, 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 I will. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. All right, guys, if you want to get in touch with any of us, you can email us at Chris. It's going to be Chris at coachbychris.com, or you can go to coachbychris.com on the internet, and you can fill out a survey that will have Chris getting in touch with you. If this is something you want to explore, he will do a free consult with you. There's no obligation. We may not be a good fit, but we might be exactly the thing that you've been looking for. So thank you so much, Debbie. I hope everybody has a good day.
All right. We'll see you soon, Lauren.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
love.